How you guys doing today? Good? Okay. Oh, did you guys see that amazing asking her to prom? How many of you guys thought that was so awesome? Anybody? How many of you guys like, that's your expectation now, ladies? You're like, okay, if I'm going to go to prom, he needs to come with some roses and some balloons. Anybody in here? He has to come with some food. Okay. Raise up the bar a little bit more. Okay. I think, when's prom at? When's prom? April. In 3 years for you, okay? It's in April for some of you guys. It's interesting. Every year around this time, it's like Bible club in the beginning. It's like, oh, and then towards the end of the year, you got finals and prom. People start getting real busy. I'm going to be busy towards the end of the year. Anybody? You start getting wildly busy. Anyone a little bit worried about graduation? You're like, man, I'm kind of just like, Brian, can you pray for me at the end because I want to make sure that I graduate? Anybody in here? Okay. Well, we're going to get started today. Everyone, I just got to let you guys know, I don't think I told you, maybe I did, that last week me and my wife went to the doctors. Yeah, did I tell you guys? And I got to hear our baby's heartbeat. Did I tell you guys that? I don't know if I told you. Literally, they do, it's the craziest thing, right? They put her on the ultrasound, and all you hear is, and I'm like, dang, calm down. The heart's beating so fast, and I was so amazed at like, oh my God, that's my baby. It's my baby inside of this belly. Anyway, I just want to share that with you. Everyone, do me a favor, look at your neighbor, say, God is. Okay, come on, with a little bit more attitude, say, God is. Yeah, you're probably like, what is God, right? I was in this school one time, and I was in a classroom, and I was preaching, and I was talking to this girl, she was there, and she raises her hand, and she says, hey, I don't believe in Jesus, but I believe in the trees. And I was like, I said, well, what? She said, no, I don't believe in Jesus, but I believe in the trees. I believe that the trees are God. I was like, really? Whoa, I never even thought of that. I said, so you worship trees? She says, yeah, the trees. I said, so you got like the pine tree and the palm tree and that's the name of these trees. You worship trees? She goes, yeah, the trees are God. I said, whoa. I said, let me give you a thought for a moment. I said, why do you worship the creation when you can worship the Creator? Let me repeat that for some of you who are still freshmen. Okay, hold on. I'm just playing. Why do you worship? I asked this girl, I says, why do you worship the creation when you can know the Creator? How many of you have ever had a favorite CD before? Like your favorite rapper? Go ahead, just shout out your favorite rapper. I might not like him, but go ahead, shout it out. Okay, I got a little confession to make. Back in the day, hold on. Before I knew Jesus, okay, I'm not talking about now, I used to like Tupac. Before I knew Jesus, here's why. Because after I met Jesus, I couldn't listen to something that was promoting so much bad stuff, right? I just don't think that Jesus would be like, yo, West Side Cat. I don't think he'd be doing that, okay? Now, how many of you know it's one thing to have the CD of an artist, but it's another thing when you actually get to meet the artist? How many of you have ever met an artist before? How many of you ever met someone famous? Me? Okay, I'm not that famous. How many of you ever met someone famous before? How many of you know who Jerry Rice is from the 49ers? Okay, my uncle is his best friend, no lie. So at birthday parties, Jerry Rice is kicking it in the living room. It's really cool. Can you go? It's in Northern California. I mean, if you want to drive up, I don't know. I actually just met these amazing pastors in Ventura, and one of their guys who's a pastor with their church actually is really good friends with Justin Bieber. No. Believe it or not. Some of you guys are like, yeah, whatever, Justin. No. Huh? This pastor is really good friends with Justin Bieber. You know Selena Gomez, all these different artists, right? It's one thing when you know about someone, it's another thing when you know the person. Now, us as people, right? How many of you ever think about creating something? Like, when you think of like, I'm a creative person, right? I was thinking today in the car, what is it that we create? Because if you think about God, hold on, zone it in for me. I know I'm kind of going quick. Hold on. Think about this. God created you. This is wild, right? How many know that He didn't make no mistake? How many know that when he made you, he made the best thing? You guys are like, no, I don't believe that. No, really. It's so crazy, right? Like I talked about last week, most of us, when we look in the mirror, it's really hard for us to believe that God... How many of you ever looked in the mirror and be like, dang, God did a good job? Anybody? Everyone, look at your neighbor and say, look at your neighbor real quick. Just look at him in the eyes. Look at him in the eyes. Look right here. And say, God did a good job. Okay. Hold on. Shh. Bring it back. Shh. You guys are like, the guys are going to go up to this girl. They're like, hey, so I learned a Bible thing today that God did a good job, girl. No. If you think about us, the only thing that we ever really create, hold on, shh. We create Instagram. We create Facebooks. We create, back in the day, MySpaces. We create Snapchat accounts. And the biggest thing I think that we create is problems. How many of you agree? You're like, yeah, I create some problems in my day, right? It's crazy. And so many people have formed their opinions. Can I get a volunteer up here real quick? Just 2 volunteers. I'm not going to tell you for what. Just come here. Come up. You're one of them. Come on. Beanie, they voted you, man. Come on. They voted you. Come on, they voted you. Come on up. Everyone give it up for this guy because he's going to come up right now. Come on. Cheer him on. Come on, bro. They're giving it up for you, bro. Just come up. You're never going to forget this meeting. All right. Here, take your backpack off for me. Take your backpack off for me. Let me just throw that on you. Keep it on. Let's see, this is selfish. I don't know if these guys are any of these things that I'm going to put on them, but if they are, don't yell, okay? This one says ugly. I'm not just putting it on you, bro. Okay? Prideful. How many of you know some prideful people before? Like, here's what pride is, right? Like, I'm better than you, I know I'm better than you, and I'll always be better than you, right? That's pride, right? I'm not how many know ever any bitter people before, right? Here's what bitterness looks like. Well, I like her, but she's just ugly, right? Throw some bitterness on there. How about weak? How about a liar? How about evil? Well, I don't know about that. How about selfish? How about angry? Angry. They both don't look angry. They're both like, maybe you're in the closet angry person. I don't know. How about fake? How about worthless? Okay, just stay there for me. Now, would you guys agree with all those things I put on you that that's what you are? Hold on. Shh. Would you agree with it? Sometimes. Would you agree with it? Well, all of them. Would you agree with everything that I put on you that that's who you are? You know what's crazy? I was in the car and I was driving today, and I was thinking about all the opinions that we formed about God, especially in this generation, especially in our generation with the internet. It's so funny. I get kids that come up to me, well, God's not real. Really? Why? Well, I seen it on Wikipedia. No, God's not real. I seen it on Google. What? It's like our generation is getting dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. Well, God's not real because I seen a hashtag that says God's not real. Well, God's not real because of this, and God's not real because of this, and we formed all these things of who God is. And I was thinking about this. What if when you walked into the room today, what if I would have put a name tag on you? What if I didn't know you, I didn't know anything about you, and I was like, oh yeah, you're weak, yeah, you're this, you're chismoso, is that what it says? Oh yeah, you're sad, you're prideful, oh I heard, I'm not going to say that word, that's kind of a bad word, okay. Oh, you're a hypocrite, you're a loner, you're fat, you're a creep. What if when you walked in the room, we stuck all these labels on you, and you sat down in the seat and I started talking? And all of a sudden, imagine if they walked to their campus like that, the first thing that people would think is, oh, this guy's rude. Oh, he's a fake for sure. Oh, he's a liar. Now I want you to think of all the labels we put on God. I was in a school one year. I want to tell you this story, real serious story. And this kid comes up to me, I think I've shared this before, and he's coming up to me in tears, and he's like, I don't get it. I don't get it, Brian. I says, what's going on? He says, if God was real, why was my father murdered last week in our house? His father was involved in some drug activity, went bad, they came to his house, and then, imagine this, they murdered his father. And he's telling me this, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, but I know that wasn't God. You know, there's this old story about this barber, right? This barber's cutting hair. He's in his seat. And all of a sudden the guy in the seat starts talking to him. And they start talking about politics and life and sports. And all of a sudden the guy in the seat says, I don't believe in God. And the barber just stays silent. Right? He's like, I want to get a tip, so. No, so other way around. Barber says, I don't believe in God. Barber tells him this, and the guy's sitting there like, just cut my hair, you know, don't buzz it up. Barber's cutting, the barber said, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in God. Because if God was real, then there'd be no pain in the world. If God was real, there'd be no assault, there'd be no murders, there'd be no orphanage. You know, I think it's like some crazy statistic that over half of this generation are from fatherless homes, right? If God was real, then why would any of this be happening? So the barber's cutting and the barber's telling the guy sitting, the guy gets up, pays him and leaves, and the guy starts walking down the street and he notices all these homeless people with dirty, oily, dingy hair. And he goes back into the barber shop and he tells the barber, barbers don't exist. And the barber's like, here. I just cut your hair. He goes, no, barbers don't exist. Because if barbers existed, there would be no one in the world with dirty, oily, dingy hair. And the barber says, I do exist, people just don't come to me. And he said, exactly. God exists. He's totally for you in this room. And we formed all these things of who God is. I've heard this. God is unfair. God is angry. God is disappointed. God is the boss. God is fake. God is this. God is that. I got news for you. I want to tell you today who God's been in my life. When I was sitting right where you were sitting at 16 years old, I was suicidal and broken, and God was love. In that moment, God came to me. You may walk in this room and you may be suicidal today, and you haven't told anybody. I'll never forget when we had no money, and I told you guys I had to jump in, take like cold showers. We had no heat. I was like, oh my gosh. Right? It wasn't a matter of getting clean. It's just a matter of getting in and getting out. When I had no money, when we were so broken, my family was so down in the slums, God was my provider. It's crazy. In the moments where this is way back in the day, okay? When I was with this girl and she cheated on me and I was a Christian and I was like, oh heck no. Girl, look at me. God was my comfort. I don't know what you thought God was when you walked into this room, even though you've been coming here for a year and a half. It's crazy when God's an idol. God's this. God is not a statue. He's not an idol. He's actually a real person that really wants to get to know you. And what if today we say, hey God, come over here for me. You're not God, but he's like, darn it. What if today we say, hey God, I want to come to you and I'm going to take off every label that anyone's ever put on you. You know, I'm not going to believe this because it didn't come from you. God, I don't think you're angry. I don't think you're selfish. What if today we took all of our labels off of the things that people said God was? And we said, God, I'm not going to see you as this, God. I'm going to see you as this. I choose to be like God. He's like, yeah, I'm free for promise. Really? You know the number one thing I hear from young people? Oh man, God's boring. Can I ask you a question? You know what's boring? Instagram. You know why? You spend hours looking at other people's lives mad because your life ain't theirs. Can we get real? You know what's boring? Facebook. You know why? You see the same things. Here's what people's posts: sitting in my room, going to the bathroom, emoji. Snapchat, right? It's fun. Hold on. But hold on. You know what's boring? You know what's boring? Living our lives. Hold on, we spend our whole life looking at everybody else's life. That's boring. You know what's not boring? Shh. God. God who created everything, and even after you figured out just this much of him, he still has about this much to figure out. It's like my wife, right? We got married and I thought, I know my wife. I know nothing about my wife. One day she feels happy and the next day she's like, why aren't you home? And go ahead, God, preach. Okay, honey. And why aren't you? I'm just like, oh my God. I'm discovering you every day. Can we get real? God's not boring, we are. What's the most we can do? And think about the most he can do. Let's just think about this for a minute. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go. Right now. But I want today, in your heart, listen, you're going to leave, you're going to go back to class, you're going to go back to your home. But today in your heart, I want you to take off these labels. If God is this, God's not in you. No way. You say, I'm not faith. God is love, man. God is for you. Can I pray for you in the room before you go? Is that cool? I want to say, guys, I love you so much. I want to pray for you. If you can just bow your heads and close your eyes for me, just real quick. God, I thank you for every single young person in this place. God, I pray that our highlight of our week is not going to be an Instagram post we look at. That the highlight of our week is not going to be when some boy asks us out. That the highlight of our week is not going to be when I come to school and I just hang out here. The highlight of our week is going to be about knowing you and making you know. And I pray, Jesus, that you would become so real to those who are in this place. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you guys. You need prayer.